Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live.
Good afternoon, it's Friday afternoon, it's 5 o'clock, it's the weekend. Can't look forward to a weekend any more than I normally do anyway. I am Graham Duthie, I'm your host this afternoon. We are here from 5 o'clock till 7. We are live across Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. Delighted, as always, on a Friday afternoon to be joined by my good friend and sidekick, Mr. Stephen Rayside. Stephen, how's it going, man?
How we doing, mate? I'm good. Good. We've got a lot to get into this week, so let's do it.
We certainly had. You had a good week, mate?
I've had a great week, mate. Yeah, I've been going to the gym, keeping fit, and managed to relatively stay clean for the most part. So, good.
Good stuff. Well, as Stephen says, we do have a lot to get through. So leave your comments as always. We always look forward to your comments that come in, but keep them clean. It's a family show. So we do have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about our favourite subject, VAR, given the review panel that met this week. We will also talk about Manager and Player of the Year awards, which are happening this weekend. We'll also look ahead to the games this weekend. That'll come a bit later. Before we get into any of that, though, tonight is the final night of the Scottish Championship. There's not a lot else to be decided. Dundee United have won the league. Fair play to them. They are back in the Premiership. There'll be a playoff between Airdrie and Partick Thistle to decide who plays Raith Rovers. The winner of that will then take on the 11th team in the Premiership. And I'll be honest, I think any of those teams will fancy beating St Johnstone or Ross County. But there is one thing still to be decided, and it is the final relegation playoff place. Inverness currently are sitting in the second last place on 39 points. Queen's Park are just slightly above them with 40 points. Both teams tonight are at home. Inverness are taking on Morton and Queen's Park are taking on Airdrie. Now, it feels really weird to think about Inverness potential in the Championship in League One when they were in the Premiership not that long ago and they won the Scottish Cup in 2015. And it wasn't that long ago. We were talking about Queen's Park potentially being in the Premiership. So, Stephen, how do you see this going tonight? Who do you think is getting that final relegation playoff place?
I think it's going to land on Inverness, unfortunately. And I don't necessarily think that Duncan Ferguson done a bad job, because I think they were in a really precarious position when he came in. And he's had some good results. So, but I just feel that Callum Davidson, I think he's done great. He's come in at Queen's Park. And I think they'll win. And do you know something? I think they'll finish 8th, they'll stay up. And I really fancy them to kick on next season as well.
Good afternoon to Ross on YouTube. Hope you're well, my man. Hope you have a good week so far. I mean, the good thing, I suppose, for Inverness is that Duncan Ferguson has said that even if they do go down, he will stay, which I think is fair. You know, it's fair enough that he's going to stay no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And I really think it was a really good move for them to just kind of get up here, get back home and go to a club like Inverness. I think that I actually fancy them. Okay, they'll be in the playoff, but I think they've got enough about them to maybe survive that playoff. And I think that he'll have contacts down in England that he can utilise as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they do if they stay up.
I mean, Queen's Park, obviously, Callum Davidson in charge there. He's done okay, I would say. I mean, like I said, it wasn't long ago we're sitting here thinking they could be in the Premiership. And now they could be potentially League One.
It's crazy because last season, they were one game. It was the last game of the season against Dundee, away from going up automatically, straight up winning the league. So, and then they end up not going up at all. So it's quite mental how football works. And now this season, for the last chunk of it, they looked down and out, and then Callum Davidson came in a wee bit of a turnaround and. That's why I say he's done a great job, and I don't think they will be in League One at all. I think that both clubs will be fine. I just don't see enough in any of the playoff sides in League One to overcome the challenge of either Queen's Park or Inverness.
In terms of the Championship promotion race, I mean, I just talked about their Partick against Airdrie. Could be a cracking game. Chris Doolan's done really well at Partick. Reece McCabe's done really well at Airdrie. But like I said a minute ago in my intro, I generally think any one of those teams would actually fancy the chance against Ross County St Johnstone, because they're not playing that well, either of them.
Yeah, and all the places for the playoffs are now set in stone. Even where they'll finish in the top 4 is now all set in stone because, okay, Airdrie are 3 points behind Partick, but Partick have a vastly a better goal difference than what Airdrie do. So it's looking like that it will be Airdrie v Partick again in the first playoff, and I think all 3 of those teams, as you say, would beat either Ross County or St Johnstone. If I'm looking at it though, I would rather play St Johnstone at the 2 of them because I think Doncaster's shown some signs of getting some decent results. I mean, the home form up until they played, I think it was what they played Hibs. I think they were unbeaten at home under Doncaster, so it will be a tough test. I think a tougher test if Ross County finish in the playoff, but I'd be really worried if I was Alistair and a St Johnstone fan at the minute because they look terrible, and I know there's been murmurs of them wanting Levine to go, and I can't say that I blame them.
To be fair, Alistair did mention that last week. I mean, he's not convinced that they're going to stay up. But I mean, do you think any one of those teams in the Championship is coming up, or do you think St Johnstone and Ross County will just be able to scrape past?
Do you know what I fancy? I fancy Partick, and that may sound crazy because Rafe finished second, but they got to the final last year. That I mean, how they never come up? I mean, they were cruising in that game, and then chucked it towards the end. So I think, but they've got that experience of being in the playoffs, know what it takes. All right, they'll need to play the same amount of games because I think they finished 4th last year and they had to play loads of games. But sometimes I think that can help because it keeps you in a stride. It keeps the momentum going to the season finishing. You know, right, they've got these playoffs and they can really attack them. And I fancy Partick to come up. I think they've got a good squad as well. And I mean, Brian Graham, I mean, he just keeps scoring goals. I mean,
He's on fire, isn't it?
You wonder when players are going to age. He just shows no signs of it whatsoever. He's been like, you get strikers that are just ideal for the Championship, and Brian Graham certainly falls into that category.
I mean, could you imagine another Partick Thistle Ross County playoff again? Could Partick Thistle handle that again?
Could Ross County handle it? Because Partick will be baying for blood, and I went to that. I went to the home leg in that Partick County game, and I said at the time that Partick they only won by 1 goal, and I thought that they would love to do that because County were down to 10 men in that game, and I just thought it was a real chance for Partick to kill it. And it did end up costing them, although we didn't think it when they were cruising away in Dingwall. But they get 1 more goal, that comeback's a hell of a lot harder. So, no, I'm hoping that they do because it's local to me, and I love just as a neutral to be able to go along to these games and watch them and relax and watch a great game of football.
In terms of Dundee United, they are coming up. How well do you think they'll do next season? Because I know that a lot of United fans are still not overly convinced by Jim Goodwin. Does the fact that Dundee have done well just put extra pressure on them when they come up?
Yeah, I think it does. Especially Jim Goodwin as well, because all right, they've went up, but I don't necessarily think it's at a canter. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people would have expected Dundee United, with the budget they have, the resources they have, to have it sewn up, and for long points it looked like Rafe were going to get the title, and if Dundee United never came up, it would have been a disaster. But they've got the job done. I mean, he said in the press this week that he's looking for the next Bojan Miovski. I seen somebody misquote that tweet and saying that he thought Dundee United were trying to sign Bojan Miovski, but unfortunately he doesn't live in the real world. That guy, but no, I think they need to strengthen because, particularly up front, I know they've got Tony Watt, but Tony Watt's hot and cold for me. William Moult, he's done okay in the Championship, but he's had injuries. Can he make that step up and do it again in the Premiership? Done it for us, was brilliant, but I still think they need somebody up front, and that's why you've got Goodwin alluding to finding the next Miovski.
Well, the games tonight, the final games in the Championship tonight are Ayr against Dunfermline, Dundee United against Partick Thistle, Inverness against Morton, Queen's Park against Airdrie, and Raith against Arbroath. So that's the final games in the Championship tonight. Right, let's get into it. Let's get into VAR. We talk about it a lot, but it is fresh in the memory now because of what happened this week. So the SFA had met an independent panel review team had also met, which is former players, managers and coaches. And they have decided that this season, and I'm going to read out what I've written down here, there have been 26 key decisions that apparently have been incorrect. There's been a total of 1,181 VAR reviews. 76 have resulted in on-field reviews. 36 have been factual overturns, which is offside or inside or outside the penalty box. A rate of 90.3% correct decisions made by on-field officials have risen to 97.8% due to VAR interventions. Now, when those stats came out on Wednesday, I thought 26 wrong decisions this season, that's not enough, because every fan of every club could look back at every decision and say, that's the poor decision. And I'm going to come up Motherwell here because, again, this is quite fresh. Stuart Kettlewell has basically said this week that supporters would enjoy football a lot more if it wasn't for VAR. Now, me and Stephen talk in group chats and stuff, and I mentioned this last week. Kettlewell was raging last week after the Jack Vale sending off. Now, Stephen was very honest, and he said it's a red card. Motherwell appealed it, and shot corner, it didn't get overturned.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, what was your thoughts firstly about the whole Motherwell situation, and also what has come out this week on behalf of the independent review panel about 26 key decisions that have been wrong?
I'll take the red card first if I can. For me, Jack Vale, I don't think he's meant it, but it falls under the law of endangering an opponent. So there, for me, it's a red card. Whether he's meant it or not, it's where the point of contact is, and it was a bad one. And for me, as a Stonewall red card, I've got absolutely no complaints. So I'm not surprised that wasn't overturned. However, I completely agree with Stuart Kettlewell's comments on what football is like to watch as a spectator now. It's so diluted. It's so diluted. I mean, when there's a goal scored, and I'm dreading it for the Euros, although I think UEFA will have a quicker turnaround, because say Scotland scored against Germany, right? Like, that should be a moment where I'm able to go absolutely nuts and not care about anything. But in the back of my mind, I'm going to be going through the goal in my head thinking, right, is there anything that could have maybe led to a VAR decision getting made there, or it getting overturned? And the experience as a supporter is completely diluted now. 26 errors. You just need to look at how often we come on this show and talk about VAR. It's been every week. Right? It's been every week. So it's a damning. 26 is bad, but I can guarantee you there's more than 26. I can put my hat on it. But it's still a damning indictment of Scottish football and the standard of refereeing in this country. There's been 26 mistakes. If you take 26 mistakes and say that only one could happen each week, right? So you've had 34 game weeks, 26 errors. That would work out that 74% of game weeks, almost 3/4, have had a mistake in them. That can't happen. VAR was brought in to eradicate this, to stop this from happening. And what I think they're doing, Graham, is they're looking for reasons not to give a goal. That's overanalyzing, micromanaging every wee decision. And that's not what football's about. Football's about being entertaining, being great to watch, and they're killing it. They're killing it. I see Sweden have got rid of VAR. I would love us to get in a similar route. And I know why we've got it, but see if we can't implement it correctly. What's the point in having it?
I'm going to go back to something I've said for a while, right? Now, VAR is a technology. It's the officials from you that are using it that are not using it properly. Now, I think you're right. It is ruining the enjoyment of the game, because you go to football to be entertained, see your team winning, see your team scoring goals. But nowadays, you sit back and think, somebody scores a really good goal, you're thinking, right, I can't celebrate that, it's going to get chopped off. Now, folk will say, but you get to celebrate it twice. That's not the point. And then if you're in the stadium, all you see on the screen is getting checked for possible handball, but you can't see it, so you don't know what it's for. You know, you don't have that. You're not able to see it, which I think is a really poor decision as well. And I just think there's been so many. Every week we come on and talk about poor decisions, and I mean, we could go back to numerous ones, but again, the handball rule needs to get changed, because every week, I've said it numerous times on here as well, 1 week you'll get a handball, next week for exactly the same incident, you won't get it. And it is completely ruined, but it's the officials to me that are not using it properly. That's a big issue that I've got and I always have had.
No, they're not. And the handball rule, sorry, is the perfect example because it should be a law. Now, to me, it's becoming subjective. You see certain referees give certain decisions that other refs maybe wouldn't give. You can't have that. It needs to be clear, black and white. It's either a handball or it isn't. And you see so many decisions that are just absolutely baffling. Where it kind of I think there was even one in the Youth Cup final where it kind of hit the players here, and it's not a penalty kick. I mean, it's so frustrating as a supporter because we want consistency. We don't want to be talking about referees. We don't want any to criticise referees. We actually want to come out and say the referee did well today. But you always say that the referees had a good game if you come away with it and you don't say anything about them. How often are we talking about referees and the decisions that they're making? It's farcical. There is no consistency. There is no, again, as you alluded to, there's no communication with supporters as to why certain decisions are given, what VAR's looking at. I mean, we're just left in the dark and we're made to accept it. And then you get the fact that managers can't come out and criticise. They're not allowed to. So wait a minute. Stuart Kettlewell alluded to this. You do all the work in the week. Your game plan works to a T. But a stupid refereeing decision can alter that. Yeah, you're not meant to come out and say anything. It's a joke. It's a joke. And then we tried to have a conversation. I forget who the match official was last week for the Motherwell Aberdeen. We tried to have a conversation with the ref. And the referee's refusing to have a conversation. There was talk about the way that he was speaking to the players. Come on, man. It's a man's game. Act like men. Grow up. Just admit you've made a mistake. We can... I can accept that more. But... It's so angering. It angers me so much, mate.
Good afternoon to Race Strike Games. Hope you're doing well, my man. What did you make of the comments by your own manager, Stuart Kettlewell, saying that he's going to have to tell Jack Vale to kind of change the way that he plays because of what happened last week?
Well, you see it. You see it in defenders in the box. They've automatically get their hands behind their back now. So players are already changing the way that they play the game. And I think we're in danger of football's a contact sport. It's almost like every wee thing, as I say, is just getting overanalyzed. There's some decisions that I just think, all right, there's contact, but is there enough? And the Jack Vale, I've already alluded to, the Jack Vale situation wasn't one of those, but there's been so many over the course of the season that were scrutinised and penalty decisions, for example. How quickly did we watch in the game Hearts against Celtic at Tynecastle where there was 2 penalty decisions go? That's not a penalty. That's not a penalty. We do that within 10 seconds. Within 10 seconds. So how's it taking the people that are qualified, and I put that in inverted commas, so long? I mean, they say they're implementing the rules of the game. Well, if what we're seeing is the rules of the game, then the rules need to be changed because I don't enjoy watching it.
Well, they were 2 of the decisions that were highlighted, and I'm going to, again, we can, like I said, we can all talk about decisions for our own club. I'll talk about mine in a second. But I'll go back to your club, Motherwell.
Yeah.
Look at the game against Aberdeen.
Yeah.
You get a goal ruled out for a handball by Theo Bair. Now, Theo Bair's not even looking at the ball. Now, I listened to Behind the Whistles podcast, a really good podcast, actually, with 2 former referees on it. And both of them even said, why is VAR getting involved there? There's no need for that. Why are you looking at that? There was no need to chalk that goal off. Aberdeen players weren't looking for it. Nobody was looking for it, yet they chalked it off.
It's crazy, mate. And we also should have had a penalty in that game as well. And
that was highlighted as well.
And the annoying thing is, right, see at that point, I think we just come off the back of beating Rangers, right? So at that point, we were flying. We were on quite a good run. It would have kept our momentum going for the top 6 push. That's another 3 points we would have had towards it. And I'm telling you, if that goal that was given, the one that had Theo Bair's arm, if that stands, the momentum of the game changes. We're in the ascendancy after that. And it was right before half time as well, which I always think is a critical point to get a goal in a game. I think it's huge. Because the team need to sit on it for 15 minutes. And as I say, mate, they're finding ways to chop goals off. No, find ways to give them. Find ways to make the game exciting. Find ways to make it enjoyable for the spectator. And do you know when it was enjoyable? When there was no VAR. Because we could accept that mistakes were going to happen. And when a goal went in, you knew it was a goal. You knew it was a goal and that was it.
I mean, I look at my own club and I look back at the game of, well, again, Motherwell, actually.
But what did it say to you?
Where Liam Boyce has got kicked in the chest. Now, the referee's called to the monitor. At that point, I was thinking he's going to give a penalty. The referee goes to the monitor, looks at it, and doesn't give a penalty. I'm like, how can you look at that screen and think that his foot is on Boyce's chest? It's a penalty all day long and it doesn't get given.
No.
And then the other one that I look at as well is Ross County. Now, we weren't great that day. Ross County were the better side. But at that point, we were back in the game. Alan Forrest is round the goalkeeper. He goes down. He's got an empty net, put the ball into. He goes down. The referee books him for diving. Now, at that point, and I've said this previously, at that point, I kind of excused the referee a little bit because I thought maybe he's not got a great view of it. So, fair enough. But the guy on VAR takes literally 10 seconds to say it's a dive. And it clearly wasn't. The yellow card got rescinded, but that's not the point. How can you look at that screen and think that's a dive? It took me 10 seconds to see it's a penalty.
Mate, honestly, mate. Like, I'll take the Boyce decision first, right? I was at the game at the other side of the stadium, right? Beside where the away fans sit. And I text you straight away saying, that was a penalty kick. Mm-hmm. He's beside it when it happens. Has a chance to go and look at it in a monitor and still gets it wrong. It's crazy. No, I was relieved because it would have hindered my team. But if I'm looking at that down the middle, if that happens to us, I am fuming. I'm absolutely fuming that it's not been given. And then the Alan Forrest one that you mentioned, for me, that's the worst decision of the season.
Oh, it's horrendous.
The season. There's contact. Why is it going down? He's got no reason to dive. He's throwing the ball into net. He's by the goalkeeper. He found the keeper. He's putting the ball in. Where's the reason for it to go down? And you don't even need to think like that, though. You just need to look at it, see the contact, see it's not a dive, give the penalty. And it's so frustrating, right? Because see the mistakes that they're highlighting. We as fans get them right like that. And that's the annoying thing, because we get them right away. It feeds these conspiracy theories that I don't agree with. The referees are biased towards certain clubs. It feeds into that narrative, and it's just not true. They're just not very good at their job.
Well, to be obviously unbiased, Hibs have been done by a couple as well that could have got them top six. If you look at the one against St Johnstone, where I think it is Meatoff that comes out and smacks into the Hibs point. That was highlighted as one of the key decisions that was wrong as well. So that, again, Hibs lost that game. That could have cost them. Well, it did cost them in the end because they lost the game.
No, the fact that there's been so many, right? There's been so many. 26. You compare that to England. I think there's been about, 4 or 5? All right, maybe in the Nottingham Forest game, there was 3 in the one game that were penalties at Forest came out and released a statement. But there's been nowhere near 26 in England. Nowhere near it. And what the PGMOL do when there is a mistake, they release the VAR audio, they release statements. We don't get any of that. They sit quietly in their wee office, collect their money and go into the next game. And I just wonder if that's why Crawford Allen has maybe stepped down. Maybe he's seen the level of ineptitude and went, I need to leave here. Because he comes out at the start of the season, that we should have it on T-shirts, we quote it that often, saying that there was 4 but in the one weekend. Do you know what I mean? Do you know? That's how bad it is, mate. It's horrendous. Because I actually can't remember the last time. In fact, it was probably one of the Friday night championship games. I can't remember the last time we sat down and just said, you know what? That was a great game of football. That was a great game of football. Even look at the Old Firm game, which I think which I think has been one of the best Old Firm games for a while. Mm-hmm. There were still decisions that we were talking about in that game. It's draining. It's draining is the word that I would use.
What worries me slightly is the fact that they're looking at that and saying, like, over the course of the season, 26 mistakes or apparently 26 have been wrong. And they're thinking, well, you know what? For a course of a season, 26 isn't bad. It's horrendous. And I honestly think there's more than that we've not been told.
It's horrendous. It's horrendous. 26 isn't bad. One's enough. One is too many when you have the technology to look at the decision. One is too many. If you're qualified at that job, have the technology to look at it again and look at it again and look at it again, and are still making 26 mistakes, and then they come out and say that isn't that bad, it impacts club seasons. Look at St Mirren. St Mirren have had 4 go against them, and those 4 put them in a great position in the table. Because if you look at it, Kilmarnock have had 5 decisions go for them that shouldn't have been given. So the difference in swinging that between 2 clubs that are so tight in the table, if these decisions are right, it's huge.
I actually heard a thing that I quite agree with. I think it was a couple of days ago, and I think it was Ange Postecoglou, where he basically said that games are not getting refereed on the park anymore. They're getting refereed somewhere else. And it's basically re-refereeing, and that's what you're doing. You know, referees now don't have the power. And again, I've said this since the start of the season as well. It feels to me like referees are refereeing by VAR. So they're not giving decisions on the park that are quite obvious. They're thinking, well, do you know what? If I've got it wrong, VAR will tell me. No, just do your job. And if you've got it wrong, then what should happen is the person in VAR will say, you might want to come and look at this.
Yeah.
It was brought in for clear and obvious errors.
Yep.
But it's not being used for that. It's being used for literally everything. It's being used to check if someone's toenail is offside. That's not what it's for.
See, that to me, and I'm going to talk about another country here, right? But I still think it's applicable to what we're talking about. You look at the Coventry goal against Man United, where he's literally like, it's a toenail offside.
Mm-hmm.
That moment has been taken away from thousands of Coventry fans. Perhaps the best comeback in FA Cup history has been ruined by a toenail. Now, I think we need to make the lines a wee bit thicker, and I'm sure there's a country that they do it in where they make the lines a wee bit thicker to give the striker the benefit of the doubt. Benefit of the doubt has to come into it, because that's what see before we were able to draw lines, right? How often did you hear commentators look at it on an instant replay and go, it's one of those ones where you need to give the striker the benefit of the doubt? That doesn't happen anymore, because we're literally doing it to the millimetre of whether someone's offside. And you're totally right about them refereeing so the game via VAR. You don't see a linesman put a flag up anymore. And I know that they're instructed to let the game continue and let the game carry on, but that could cause an injury. That could cause a serious injury. I think I get it if somebody's through one-on-one, right? I get it if somebody's running in one-on-one, then do it then, right? Because it's clear goal scoring. But if you think somebody's offside as they make a run down the wing to put a cross in, get the flag up. You don't see it anymore.
Look at Livy against Aberdeen a few weeks ago. Aberdeen scored that last-minute goal that got ruled out, and they basically even admitted that they guessed. You can't do that. You can't guess.
It shows how amateurish this game is to go, we guessed. See if there's any doubt. You give the goal. If there's any doubt, you give the goal. You need to be 100% certain that someone is offside. If you can't do that with 100% certainty, now, forgive me on the Aberdeen decision, was it called offside on field?
It was given us a goal at the time.
Right, so what you then do, in my eyes, if there's any degree of doubt, is you stick with the on-field decision. If you're needing to guess, you don't then overturn the on-field decision. So if the on-field decision was offside, you stick with offside. If the on-field decision is a goal, you give the goal. It's that simple. Why are we complicating the game?
What would you like to see happen next season with VAR?
We either need to start using it correctly. There needs to be clear communication with the fans. We need to get the VAR audio released, I think, on every decision, not even the ones that are wrong, just so that we can hear the referee's line of thought. I think we need to maybe even get it so that we can hear the VAR audio in stadiums. They do it in rugby. Do it in football.
I'm sure I heard Howard Webb talk about that a couple of days ago, that they're going to do that. They're going to trial that in England.
Why do we need to trial it? Why do we need to have trials? Everybody wants these things. Just do them.
The thing is, you would see if that happened, you got a lot more transparency. You might not agree with the decision, but at least you can understand it because you can hear it. Right now, you don't hear anything, and that's where the issue comes.
And you can still disagree. You can still disagree and say it's wrong, but at least you know they're trying to thought. Right now, we don't know they're trying to thought. Now, I'm not saying for 1 second this is happening, right? But for all we know, a VAR official could be sitting in a room going, I'm not getting that, that's the Motherwell. I'm not getting that, that's the Hearts. Now, I'm not for one instance saying that that's happening. But we don't know, because we're not hearing anything. So,
again, it feels, I was going to say this as well a couple of days ago, but it feels to me like referees are robots now. And it was mentioned by Stuart Kettlewell, and I think Liam Kelly as well.
Yeah.
You can't talk to referees anymore. At the old days, and listen to that podcast, listen to as well, the two referees that were on that said that they had banter with the players.
Yeah.
You don't get that now. You can't talk to a referee. You can't go to a referee after the game and say, "Can I have a word with you?" Because they just shut down. That's not a good way to referee either. You've got to have something about you, and it doesn't happen.
If you heard the story that Ben Foster tells about Tom Cleverley scoring a goal for Watford, and Mike Dean, there was a foul in the build-up, but Mike Dean's let the play go on, and is they're running back to the centre circle, Mike Dean turns around and goes, "Assist for Mike Dean" on the way back, brilliant. See, I'm sorry for that accent. That was as terrible as the way I walk, non-existent, horrendous. But you want that. You want a bit of character. I remember referees like Hugh Dallas, John Robotham, Willie Young. People that had a bit of character about them, that gave a bit back, and players were allowed to give a bit back now. But I think that's a reflection on society, mate. I think society's becoming very soft. So, and I think that's reflective in the way football's turning and the way that the game's being refereed. I sit and have a bit of banter with the linesman. I love it. I love it. And if they've got a decision right, I'll say, well done. Do you know what I mean? But we're slowly, you're right, we're slowly making the game robotic, mate. And it can't be what football's about, because it's never been what football's about. Never.
But if a player makes a mistake, he might get dropped. If a manager makes mistakes, he gets sacked. If a referee makes a mistake, he gets the next game.
Anything.
If he makes a mistake, he gets the next game. That's not right. That's not fair. There's no punishment there. Nothing happens.
No, there's not, and we're not allowed to speak about it. We're not allowed to call it out either, because we're just seen as being against referees. We want the game to be enjoyable. We want the game to be transparent, and there's no transparency. There's absolutely no transparency at the moment, Graham. And it's sad. It's sad to see, because I even go as far to say that the game's becoming robotic in the way it's being played. Honestly, I'll go that far. And don't get me wrong, Pep's Man City and everything can be great to watch at times, but you don't see wingers like Ryan Giggs anymore. You don't see players like Zidane anymore. I'll even relate it to Scotland. You don't see players like James McFadden anymore, who will go and try things, because everybody's so get a set of instructions in a certain situation, do this, do that. I used to love seeing players try things and it coming off. I don't feel like I see that anymore.
No, that's actually quite fair. We are going to be doing a very special show about VAR after the season finishes. We're hoping to get an ex-referee on, so that'll be an interesting conversation.
Yep.
And also, just to let you know as well, we've got a special show on Monday night from 7 o'clock, all about the work that has been done by the Scottish Football Sports Association. Alistair Blair, who's a big advocate of that, he will be on along with Michael, and I think Stephen's on as well.
Yeah, I'm
so tune in for that live at 7 o'clock on Monday night. We also have a couple other special shows as well for the Euros coming up as well, which I'm looking forward to as well. Can't wait for the Euros. Let's move on though, because as I said on Sunday, it is the awards for Player and Manager of the Year. Now, Player of the Year, it is between James Tavernier, and Jack Butland of Rangers, Matt Aurelia at Celtic, and Lawrence Shankland at Hearts. For me, being biased and unbiased, there's only one winner, and it's Shankland. Stephen, what's your thoughts on Player of the Year? Who should win it?
Lawrence Shankland should win it. He should win it every day of the week, but I don't think Lawrence Shankland will. I think Matt O'Reilly will win it. And don't get me wrong, he's had a great season, but I just think recently it looks like Celtic are going to win the league. Looks like they're in a cup final as well, and I just think there might be that bias that it'll be given to Matt O'Reilly. Now, for me, I think Jack Butland's in a great shout as well. The only player that I don't think deserves to be there at all is James Tavernier. I don't think that he merits to be on the 4-man shortlist. You could maybe even argue that Bojan Miovski could be on that, and I'm sure that there's other players that you would point to as well that I'm probably missing out. I think Kilmarnock have had a great season, so they maybe argue that some of their players should be on the shortlist. But listen, we know that these things happen. We know that it's going to be majority Old Firm players. I think. Am I right in saying, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but the last player to win it out with an Old Firm player was Michael Higdon when he was at Motherwell?
2013 was the last time, yep.
So, I mean, and he had a 30-goal season. That season, I think Shankland's he's close to 30 goals, isn't he?
He's got 28
for the season.
competitions.
So, he'll probably get that with what, 4 games left to go. And I think it would be absolutely scandalous if he doesn't get it, Graham. And I know that you're going to have an itchy summer, a twitchy summer, as to whether you keep my hold of him. I actually think you will. I think you'll sign a new contract.
Mate, it was the same in January. Like, all January it was, will Shankland stay? Well, I was quite confident he would. I was never, ever convinced he was going to go. This time I'm not quite as sure. Him and Stephen Naismith have been talking, and they basically said that they will sit down after the season finishes, which is fair enough. The deal is there for him. And I saw Ryan Stevenson as well, an ex-Hearts player, saying that the 5 million we get for Europe, we should use some of that to spend on Shankland. We've already given him the best offer we can get. I don't think it's about money with Shankland, though. He might want to try somewhere else. He's 28. He might want to think he's got one big move in him. I'm still hoping that he's going to stay, but I'm not convinced he's going to.
But I just think if I'm Shankland, right, I'm at a team where I'm scoring goals for fun, right? I look at what Hearts are doing off the pitch, saying like Jan Danda, Blair Spittle, James Penright. They're trying to strengthen. So to me, if I'm Shankland, I'm looking at that and I'm going, they're bringing in players here that are going to make us stronger. If I stay, I can push us on again next season. And what is pushing Hearts on? Because you've had a really good season, Graham. You finished third. Can you? I don't think you're ever going to be able to bridge the gap between yourselves and the Old Firm anytime soon. Is it finishing third again? I mean, is there a bit with you that maybe you've been in 2 cup semi-finals and no managed to get over the line against Rangers on both occasions? That's about the only thing that he's maybe done wrong this season. I particularly think in the Scottish Cup there was a great opportunity for you there, because I don't think Rangers played particularly well. I just think Hearts were wasteful in the final third. Not that it was a bad performance. Just things didn't come together in the final third. Shankland doesn't get a sniff for the majority of the game. So what is that next step as a Hearts fan?
I go into every season hoping we're going to challenge the top 2, but consistency is a big thing. Celtic and Rangers can win game after game after game. Hearts can't do that. Aberdeen can't do that. Hibs can't do that. I would love to think it'll happen, but it's going to be more difficult next season because we've got European football. We're going to be playing every Thursday, Sunday. We've got the Scottish Cup, the League Cup. We've got a lot of games to play. I think if we finish third again next season, it'll be a big, big achievement. I genuinely do, because of the amount of games we're going to have to play next season. I think we need a bigger squad. We will lose a few players as well. We need a bigger squad. I'm delighted with the players we've got in. I genuinely think it's absolutely brilliant. I'm genuinely pleased with what we've done so far. And I really, really hope that Stephen Naismith can keep doing what he's doing. But I think third next season, with the amount of games we're going to have to play, would be huge.
Yeah. I think he's done a great job. I mean, I know we're going to go on to talk about Manager of the Year. I don't think I would quite give him it. I know he's not in the running, is he? But I know we spoke the last couple of weeks about him potentially being. I think had you got to a cup final, had you beat Rangers, we might have been having a different conversation, because we need to think about where he was. We need to think about where he was You were pulling your hair out, even though there's not much left at one stage. But no, you were pulling your hair out at stages. But he's completely turned it around, and I think that's corresponded with the fact that the whole Frankie McAvoy situation was cleared up. I think that had a real impact on his kicking on. It just gives you players that clarity, and we spoke about a style. We spoke about what Hearts were maybe missing, and I think he's identifying that. You see who he's signing, players like Jan Danda. You see him signing players like Blair Spittle. Creative influences that we've spoken about that Hearts need in the midfield, and they've needed for a long time. And I like the fact that he's signed James Penrice, because Kingsley's he's getting into his 30s now, am I right in saying?
Yeah, it will be, yeah.
So it's good that he's identified somebody that can come in and challenge him and maybe replace him. And that's not to say that Stephen Kingsley won't play next year, but I think it's healthy to have somebody pushing you. I really do. I'm an expert in somebody pushing me, so I should know. Sorry. I'm going up to the toilet. I'll be 2 seconds. All right.
I know what it's about. I think Stephen makes a good point there about Kingsley. You know, there's every chance we are probably going to lose Alec Cochrane as well. I think we're looking at about $2 million for him, which I think is fair, reasonable, I would say. But, you know, I'm pleased with the business Hearts have done so far. We'll have to strengthen, of course, more in the summer. But looking at Player of the Year, you know, for me, it has to be Shankland. What he's done for Hearts. Everybody has basically said that Shankland's got us third, and I can't disagree with that. We have had really good players this season. I think Frankie Kett's been outstanding. Kenny Vargas has got 8 goals for his first time here. I think Cameron Devlin's been really good as well. So, yeah, I think, again, Xander Clark's kept 15 clean sheets this season, which I think, again, is fantastic. But Shank has been outstanding. 28 goals this season in all competitions. He should win it. Now, don't get me wrong, O'Reilly's had a good season. I think he's a cracking player. It wouldn't surprise me if he does eventually leave, maybe go to a Spanish team, for example. Tavernier and Butland, I mean, I think Butland's been excellent. I really do. I think he's been one of the Rangers' best signings this season. Tavernier, of course, we know his goals and assists have been fantastic. I get Old Firm players obviously are going to be on these all the time because they finished top 2, but it's too easy to give it to an Old Firm player. I just think the work that Shankland's done this season to get our start has been outstanding. And I do agree as well. Majowski should be in there as well for what he's done for Aberdeen, because he's basically kept Aberdeen in the league. Without him, they'd have been really struggling. But I'm hoping that Shankland wins it, of course, as a biased opinion. But I kind of agree with Stephen. I don't think he will. I think it'll be maybe potential O'Reilly, maybe even Butland. But that's the Player of the Year. The Manager of the Year, there's only 3 awards here. So it's Derek McInnes of Kilmarnock, Tony Docherty of Dundee, and John McGlynn at Falkirk. Now, John McGlynn has managed to go through a whole season with Falkirk unbeaten. Absolutely no problem with him being up there at all. Tony Docherty, absolutely brilliant job for him. First job in managerial career. He's managed to take a Dundee side that have just come up. And again, when you come up from the Championship, your main thing is, can we stay up? Well, they've done that more than comfortably. You know, they could easily still finish 5th. Big game for them tomorrow against St Mirren. But Docherty's been outstanding. And Derek McInnes, what a job he's done at Kilmarnock. European football for Kilmarnock. They've had a brilliant season. They are very hard to play against. We're unbeaten against Kilmarnock this season, but there's a few draws in there, though. But the job that he's done has been outstanding. I honestly think if any of them wins it, they deserve it. I was slightly surprised that Naismith wasn't in there. Now, a lot of folk will say, but, you know, what's he done? Well, it's his first proper managerial job. He was managing the B team. He's taken a Hearts team that, like, at the start of the season, I wasn't convinced he was the right appointment. I said after the 12 weeks he wasn't ready for it. I was wrong. He's taken us to 2 semi-finals, a League Cup and a Scottish Cup, and got us 3rd. I think he probably should be in there. But like I said, I've no problem at all with the manager that's in there. You know, to go a whole season, even though it's League One, to go a whole season unbeaten is brilliant. Fair play to John McGlynn. And I think Falkirk could do well in the Championship this season. I've always said the Championship is a brilliant league. It is so competitive. And now you've got Falkirk in there. It's going to be very difficult. And this is what I said about Livingston and potentially Ross County or St Johnstone as well. They go down, they're going to struggle to come back up because that Championship is so difficult to get out of. I never want Hearts to be in there again because it's just a horrible league to get out of. Thankfully, we managed to do it twice, but I don't want to be in there again. But looking at who I think should win it, I think I'd probably give it to Derek McInnes. I think he's done, honestly, a brilliant job. Stephen Robertson as well has done a great job with that St Mirren team. But I think Derek McInnes done a great job this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Docherty or John McGlynn wins it because of the job that they've done this season. But I'm giving it to Derek McInnes. If it's me, I'll get Stephen's thoughts when he comes back. But, I mean, the one thing I am pleased about, and sorry to Old Firm fans, well, not really, I'm glad that there's no Clement or Rodgers on that because it's too easy. You're managing the top two teams in Scotland. It's too easy to be nominated for that. I'm actually glad it's going to folk that maybe don't get the recognition they deserve. So I'm actually really pleased that they're not in it. But at the moment, I'm probably going to give it to Derek McInnes. I think for him, they are going to finish fourth. It's a great season for them. I did say at the start of the season when I was making predictions, I did say they'd finish top 6. I don't think they'd be as good as they have been, though. So I'm probably giving it to Derek McInnes. I'll get Stephen's thoughts when he comes back, though. Let's look ahead to the games this week. Starting the top 6. Tomorrow it is Celtic against Hearts and Dundee against St Mirren. Here's Stephen coming back now.
How are you doing, mate? Sorry.
No, it's all right, mate. I was just talking about manager of the year there. So there's only 3. There's Derek McInnes, Tony Docherty and John McGlynn. McGlynn, who's gone unbeaten at Falkirk all season. Tony Docherty has done a great job for his first job, and Derek McInnes done a fantastic job. If it was up to you, who do you think should win it?
Right, I know we spoke about both. We named 3. It was Naismith, Docherty and McInnes, so we get 2 of the 3. Probably wasn't thinking about League One. That's naive of me. But now that you outline that there, do you give it to John McGlynn? Because think of how important that is for Falkirk. The Falkirk have been down in League One for a while now. And not just to get promoted, but to get promoted and going unbeaten and making a real claim. And I tell you what, the Championship is always a tough week, but you've got Arbroath going down and you've got Falkirk coming up. Now, no disrespect to Arbroath, but that just strengthens it that week even more. And you look at that for someone like Livingston. I'm sorry, Livy, but you're not getting out of that week next year.
I've just said the same thing. Generally, it is so hard to get out of. I genuinely think Livy going down and potentially Ross County St Johnstone, they could really struggle because that league is so competitive. And with Falkirk coming up there now, you could potentially still have Hamilton as well if they win their playoff. It's such a hard league next season.
You've got a couple of rivalries in there as well. Falkirk feed on Fairmont. You know what I mean? So that's reignited. And then we Livy going down. So it's a really tight league, mate. You're right. But what do you think, John McGlynn? Or are you tipping more towards? I know people might have already heard your thoughts, but I've no, so I'm asking you.
Listen, the job that John McGlynn has been outstanding, but I'm probably just tipping towards Derek McInnes. I think the job he's done at Kilmarnock has been excellent. I said at the start of the season that I think they finished top 6. I didn't think they'd be as good as they have been. They are such a good side. They're a hard side to break down. They've got brilliant wingers and like Danny Armstrong and Matty Kennedy. They're a really solid unit. Defensively, Lewis Mayo and Stuart Finlay have been outstanding. I would probably just tip towards Derek McInnes, but I just said that a minute ago. I'm actually glad that there's no Clement or Rodgers because it's far too easy to have the Old Firm managers in there. I'm actually glad that they're not in it. I'm slightly surprised that Naismith's not in it, but do you know what? The job that Derek McInnes has done, I think he deserves it.
But now, see if you're a Rangers fan, would they argue that Celtic with 11 points cleared at one point, right? They've won a League Cup, still a miss out of the league, and they can still win the Scottish Cup. So if Phil Clement's come in, right, if he manages to win the league, turn around an 11-point gap, and if they win the Scottish Cup, he's not going to get Manager of the Year for winning a treble. Now, it does look like Celtic are going to probably win the league, but this is something that could happen. It could happen. So, what are you saying to that if you're a Rangers fan then? But it's all to do with the timing of when the shortlist is released, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely think these awards are far too early. The season's not even finished yet. Yeah. Surely you wait till the end of the season till everything's done and then you decide. It does seem a little bit early, but they do it every year.
Plus, it gives you something to talk about in the summer, doesn't it? It gives you, like, I know, but you can do it, what, 2 weeks after the Scottish Cup final? I know people want to go away on holiday, but if you know that ceremony's coming up, then, do you know what I mean? You can plan your holidays around that kind of a thing. I think it makes more sense to have it at the end of the season because the situations like we're seeing with Phil Clement, where he could potentially win a treble and not get manager of the year.
Well, also, you've got Reece McCabe at Airdrie. They can still come up.
Brilliant.
They can still come up.
And do you know what I love to see? And I know it's Airdrie, so I don't love it too much, but I like to see young managers getting a chance somewhere and really taking the bull by the horns and doing well. And I think he's done a great job. And you mentioned Reece McCabe. I think Chris Doolan's done great at Partick as well. There's two managers in the Championship who are relatively young in their managerial lifespan, if you like, and they're doing really good jobs with decent sized clubs. And do you know what? See if you get like a Ross County down, Graham. Now, I don't mean this disrespectfully to Ross County or St Johnstone, but I would argue, well, maybe not St Johnstone, but certainly Ross County, I would argue that Airdrie, certainly to Motherwell, but I would argue that a side like Airdrie or Partick Thistle would bring bigger away crowds to places like Tynecastle and Fir Park, certainly.
No, that's true. Just to break off slightly, UEFA have just announced on their website that clubs now for the Euros can extend their group from 23 to 26, which is good news because Scotland are going to need it because players are dropping like flies. Obviously, Scott McTominay, though, is fit. Stephen Fairfield that last week, and so did I. I just put it on my social media that McTominay's out, and he isn't, which is good news. But yeah, I think that's good news that it's getting extended. Maybe a chance for a couple of the players that might not have gotten that Scotland squad to be at the Euros next in June.
Now, here's a conversation point. Do you take somebody like James Forrest? Do you take maybe even a couple of wingers? James Forrest, maybe even Danny Armstrong for Kilmarnock, who I think has been the best winger in the league for me this season, just to give us that option of tweaking it if plan A is not working. Have a couple of wingers in the squad. What I don't want us to do, Graham, I don't want us to take 4 goalkeepers.
Yeah, I don't see the point in
that. Because of that new space. Because to me, you're just wasting a pick by doing that.
Yeah, I kind of said this last week as well. I mean, to be honest, James Forrest has probably talked himself in the Euros. And it's funny because, like, weeks and weeks ago, a lot of Celtic fans were thinking, why have we not let James Forrest go? And now he's had a hand in them winning the Scottish Cup semi, and he's basically won the game last week.
Yep.
I mean, at the age that he is, and this is funny because I mentioned this last week as well, at the moment, given his age, he's actually still Celtic's best winger, which is mental at his age.
And do you know what's crazy for me? You think you see it on social media, some of the flack that he's took from Celtic supporters over the years. I think if he wins the league in the Scottish Cup, is he got more titles, the most titles of any Celtic player, or he's at least joint top with James McGrory. So you can argue about Rangers not being in leagues and Celtic having it easy for 4 years, but that's still an amazing thing to be able to say. And my dad was at Celtic, my dad coached at Celtic with James, and you could just tell. You could tell when he was young that he was just going to go on and do the things that he's went on and done. Maybe I think I know he's been a one club man, you don't see it often, but I just wondered in the back of James Forrest's mind when he was in his mid-20s, I think he had the chance to go to like Everton. Does he maybe regret not taking that? Or does he look at what he's won at Celtic, the accolades that he's won, and think, do you know what? I've cemented myself as a legend here.
Well, if he wants another move, come to Hearts and play with his brother Alan Forrest. That'll be fun. But just quickly going back to Manager of the Year, we can't disregard what Tony Docherty has done for Dundee this season. They can still finish 5th this season. The job that he's done has been outstanding. Like I said before you came back there, I have no problem whichever manager gets it because I think any of them really deserve that award. They've been brilliant, all of them.
It's very difficult to talk about Tony Docherty every week and try and not repeat what I'm saying, but Dundee, for years, a yo-yo club. They would go up, then they would come down, and he's cemented them. And as you say, you alluded to it with Dundee United coming back up. you now have a strong Dundee. And I don't think, no disrespect to Dundee, but I think when they've played Dundee United in past years, Dundee United have been stronger for a far long time. I would argue that obviously Dundee United are in the Championship, but I would argue that Dundee have just as good a squad, if not better. And what Tony Docherty has done is he's shown that he's got a real eye for the player. I mean, the bottom like Bakayoko, Owen Beck, is it the boy Dodson, the fullback as well?
Owen Dodson, yeah.
Owen Dodson, he's been really good as well. I think some of the corners that he put in against Celtic were tremendous, and I think that they've got a really solid manager there, and he's somebody now that with the season he's had, if he cements it with another good season next season, I can see Nick Montgomery kind of falling off the rails a wee bit at Hibs because he's already had a bit of a patchy season this season. Tony Docherty is now somebody that you've put in the hat for that job if it comes up.
I mean, talking a patchy season, let's just hope that Dundee's pitch is a lot better next season. They can't have any worse.
Horrendous.
But now next season we're going to have 3 derbies: a Dundee derby, an Edinburgh derby, and the Glasgow derby. And like I said, the last time Michael was on here, they'll only show one of them on TV. Which one will that be, I wonder?
And if Airdrie come up as well, you could have Motherwell v Airdrie, but which I'm telling you, it may not whet the appetite of the neutral, but for Motherwell and Airdrie fans, that is it. I don't want to hear any talk about Hamilton. Hamilton are irrelevant, right? We don't care about Hamilton in terms of a derby. We enjoyed it when it was there, but Airdrie is the one that matters, and any Motherwell fan will tell you that.
How big a derby is that? How big a derby is it?
I mean, it's huge for the fans involved. There is absolute disdain between both sets of supporters. There's no love lost at all. And I think in the League Cup, you just look at the League Cup when Airdrie beat us in the group stage, unfortunately. The fans were on the pitch and everything. It's like, it is the be all and end all. And Motherwell love that. That is the game. Motherwell v Airdrie is the game, mate. But you've not really had a chance to see it because both sides haven't really been in the same division because we've been far superior over the past couple of decades. So, no, sorry, I just had to get that in there. But I want them up. I want them to come up because I want that game back.
Fair enough. Well, we've got about an hour left, so let's look at the games this weekend. Let's start with the top 6 games tomorrow. We've got Celtic against Hearts and Dundee against St Mirren. Let's start with Celtic against Hearts. Hearts have already beaten Celtic twice this season, one of them at Celtic Park, which was a surprise to even me. I don't think we'll do it again. Celtic go for the title. And there was breaking news that came out of Celtic earlier on this afternoon with Liam Scales signing a new 4-year contract. He's 25 and he's played 40 games this season. Is that surprising to you, Stephen, that they've signed him on a longer-term deal?
No, it's not surprising. Sorry, I was reading a text. Who are we talking about there? I don't want to get an answer and they'll get it right. I just want to be honest. Who was it you're talking about? Liam Scales, 4-year deal?
Scales, yeah.
Got it, right, okay. I know. You would have said at the start of the season, mate, that he wouldn't have been anywhere near the Celtic squad because they signed Lagerbielke, they signed Evroki. You thought, right, these are the guys that are going to come in alongside Carter Vickers. One of them's going to play. And then the one that isn't playing will be the next backup. I think there was actually talk mid-season, end of last season, of Liam Scales going back to Aberdeen. So it shows you how good a job he's done. He's managed to come in, cement his spot as a Celtic centre half, and I think he thoroughly deserves his 4-year deal. I know at points you'll look at the cup semi against Aberdeen and say that he maybe could have done better for a couple of goals, but I think if you look at his season overall, I think he's had a pretty solid season. And it's a conversation that nobody at the start of the season thought we would have been having.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done well alongside Carter Vickers. I mean, they probably are now Celtic's best defensive partnership. Hopefully Hearts can break that down tomorrow, but I'm not looking forward to it. But I mean, just in terms of Celtic, they managed to beat Dundee last week by 2-1. Dundee actually played quite well last week. Celtic know that winning tomorrow, they could go 6 points clear before Rangers take on Kilmarnock at home on Sunday. What's your thoughts on this game tomorrow at Celtic Park?
I don't think it's a given that Celtic are going to win because, all right, Hearts just need Kelly be off Rangers. Am I right in saying? And then that's third mathematically. These are there. That's it done. But they'll want to go there tomorrow so that they've done the job, and they already know that they can beat Celtic at Celtic Park. They've done it this season, and they've beaten them at Tynecastle as well. So it's a team that Celtic have struggled to cope with for the best part of the season. Everybody's looking at the Kelly game, and yes, that'll be tough, but these games in the top six, none of them are a given. I look at both games last week. I thought both sides could easily have dropped points. Easily have dropped points. And I don't think, usually you see the Old Firm have been head and shoulders above the rest. I don't think either Celtic or Rangers have had a fully convincing season. I don't. And I think there's points there to be had, even for Kelly Ibrox as well. I think both games, I don't think they're set in stone. But with Celtic going for a title, I'm sorry, Graham, I'm just going to pick them to win this one tomorrow by the odd goal. I think it'll be a 2-1 or a 3-2. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, Celtic probably haven't been at their best, but they're still getting results, and they do now have, obviously, Hatate, O'Reilly and McGregor. That, for me, and I said this to Alistair last week, is probably the best midfield three in Scotland just now.
Yeah.
And Hearts are going to have to really try and match that. But the thing is, see, for me, it's kind of a free hit. We're 11 points clear. There's 4 games to go. I think third's done already. I think tomorrow's a chance for us to not relax, but go there with a bit more optimism. Because, like I said, we beat Celtic already this season. I think we'll play exactly the same formation we played the last time, the 3-5-2, and try and frustrate Celtic. But again, it's going to be going through to Glasgow and not conceding early. Because if we lose an early goal, I would worry it could be a few.
It's we see that about these games involving the Old Firm that every week that hiya Paul, how you doing? That how you start is so important. And the same rings true tomorrow. The start of the game is going to be vital if Hearts are going to get anything out yet. But I just feel that Celtic pushing for this title. Brendan Rodgers said this is where they come on strong. Okay, there was points in the game against Dundee where they looked a bit suspect at points, but they got the job done. And you're seeing players like Hatate back. You're seeing, I don't know, Carter. I don't even think Carter Vickers or Hatate were playing the last game at Celtic Park, were they?
No, I don't think they were actually, no.
So that immediately strengthens them. And I don't know, I just think Hearts, I think they know. Not that he's will take the foot off the gas, but he's kind of a know he's got third now. And I see a Celtic win for that reason, to be honest.
Yeah, well, Naismith has basically talked about the fact he's wanting to get to 70 points. We're 7 points off that just now. A win tomorrow would be huge, but I mean, there's more pressure on Celtic for this game tomorrow because obviously, like I said, they know that if they win, they go 6 points clear. I think they win the league now anyway. But if they did drop points tomorrow, where Rangers playing on Sunday, that could be massive.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if you swing that the other way, see if they win convincingly, what pressure does that then apply to Rangers? What pressure does that put on them? And I just think Kelly. The thing for me with Rangers, right? I don't think in previous games they create chances left, right, and centre, right? And I just think Kelly are so solid defensively that Kelly could go to Ibrox with a game plan and kind of do a job on them. But no, to get to 70 points, I mean, do you know Hearts' record number of points like since September, since SPL started?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I've not checked it.
But I think it's been a really strong season for you, and to get to 70 points would be great. I mean, you're actually like you've kept pretty. You've never looked like threatening Rangers, but there's not as big a gap between yourselves and Rangers as what I'm used to seeing. Not yourselves, but necessarily between third. What is it just now? It's okay, 15 points. It's still a lot, right? But that was extended by 2 points last week when Rangers winning and used dropping to. So he's kind of to be what 13 points off of Rangers. Mathematically, still, although it was never going to happen, mathematically still able to catch them. Going into the split fixtures, it just shows you how good a season the Hearts have had.
Yeah, I mean, quite a lot of folk over the last few weeks have said, could Hearts get second? I've always said, no. we're not consistent enough with a really good season, don't get me wrong. But I mean, looking at Celtic, I mean, we've just talked about him. There is absolutely no way that James Forrest doesn't start tomorrow.
No, there's no way that he doesn't start. He has to start. And do you know what? He looks back to his old self, and I don't know whether that's having a manager that believes in you, a manager that put his trust in you, because it was a wee bit in the wilderness when Postecoglou was there. It was James Forrest. With his now you get Brendan Rodgers coming out and saying, and he's proven to be right, that James Forrest is the best winger at this club. But it's weird because the point that he said that was he still was the starting. It was a bit of a weird statement. He came out and said that he was the best winger at the club and then no play him the next week. But he's come back in. He's been huge for them in the last two games. And wingers are confidence players. Every player's a confidence player, but wingers in particular. And he's certainly one that you need to watch out for tomorrow, mate.
Good afternoon to Boyle. Hope you're well, mate. I mean, it's a difficult game for Hearts tomorrow. I'm not going to underestimate that. It will be difficult. But we've got to go with confidence. Lawrence Shankland, like I said, has got 28 goals this season. He is one goal off beating his record for last season. He's got 4 games left to get it. I think he will do it. Maybe not tomorrow. But, I mean, like I said, for me, this is essentially a free hit for Hearts tomorrow. We can go there. If we were 3-4 points ahead, I might be a bit more concerned. But 11 points clear, I'm not worried.
No, because I don't see. I mean, Kelly have still got both the Old Firm to play. Do you know what I mean? So I don't see them beating both of them. So and I also don't see Hearts losing 4 games either. So I mean, all you really need a point. So to me, I think you're right. I think you can just chill, not chill, but have that free hit, swing for the fences, and see what happens.
Well, I will be going to Pennycook tomorrow to watch Pennycook's last home game of the season against Sauchie, so I'll be keeping an eye on the score. What was your prediction for tomorrow?
For Celtic Hearts,
Yeah.
2-1 Celtic.
I'm probably going to go one goal more. I might go 3-1 Celtic, and I hate saying that, but 3-1 Celtic. Let's go to the other game tomorrow, a big game between Dundee and St Mirren. St Mirren currently sitting 5th on 43 points. Dundee sitting 6th on 41 points. Both have had very good seasons. They were both a bit unfortunate to lose to the Old Firm last week. This is a tough game to call, Stephen. Both had very good seasons. This is a tough one.
No, it's a very tough game. But then we've said that with a lot of games this season, that they can be hard to call. But I'm going to go down the middle and go for that draw, mate. There you go. But that's again me sitting on the fence because, as you say, it's a tough game.
I mean, the season that Dundee have had, we've said it before, it's been absolutely fantastic. Like I said, when you come up from the Championship, the main aim was try and stay up. Well, they've done that more than comfortably, sitting comfortably in the top 6. And they've had a great season. And guys like, I mean, they're supposed for Dundee, they were looking to try and keep hold of the likes of Lyle Cameron, Luke McCowan. Do you think that's going to happen this season? Because they will be definitely getting some interest in those two.
If Dundee don't get Europe, then they'll go, I think. The only hope that Dundee have of them staying is if they do get European football. And I think that game tomorrow against St Mirren is massive because you look at their fixtures after that, they've got Hearts away and Rangers away. So 2 very tough places to go. And all right, if you're a Dundee fan, you're hoping that Rangers beat Kelly this weekend so that Hearts have third tied up. But then you've even alluded to it that Stephen Naismith set another aim, so he's still going to be going for that. I just think they must win tomorrow. They're 2 points behind St Mirren. Psychologically, they obviously go ahead of them. And sometimes when you're getting chased, it's a wee bit tougher to keep up, but to kind of keep it going. So huge for Dundee tomorrow with them having the home advantage that they get 3 points. And then for Lyle Cameron and Luke McCowan to stay, they do need to get Europe.
If those two do go, where do you see them going to?
I mean, do they go down to England, to the Championship? Do they? I mean, me personally, I think that Luke McCowan and Lyle Cameron could play in the Championship in England no problem. I think great players, but then I don't think Hearts need any more midfielders because
No.
you have a squad full of them. But then you look at somebody like Hibs. Is that a good fit for them, Aberdeen, or do they want to go elsewhere? Where do you see them going? It's a tough one to answer because it depends on the player, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they probably could go on English Championship. I don't see them staying in Scotland, to be honest. I don't think they'll stay here. But they're two very good players. They're absolute quality. I mean, Dundee in Europe would be incredible. But you know what? See if they did get it, they would deserve it for the season they've had. But I mean, they were unfortunate against Celtic last week not to take something out of the game. I thought they actually played very well. And again, it just goes to show what a good side they are, especially at Dens Park.
No, they're a great side. Dens Park, it's the dodgy pitch helps them. But no, I just think they're a really physical side, aren't they? And then the physical up front, big bag of Yoko. I really like the look of the guy Boateng that they've got on loan for Crystal Palace as well. I think the balance in midfield has been outstanding. And that's really gave them the platform to kick on going forward. I do think you can get at them defensively, though. I think that there's weak points in there, definitely. I mean, you see that when they were 2-0 up against us and we came back to win 3-2. But no, they've been really good at Dens, and the 2 games left at Dens now, one against St Mirren and the other against, I think it's Kilmarnock. So they'll be looking to get maximum points from both of them.
The problem that Dundee are probably going to have next season is they do have a lot of players on loan that will probably leave, so they're going to have to rebuild again for next year.
Yeah, and can you keep dipping into that loan market and getting it right? I'm sure that there'll be conversations being had behind the scenes, and I know for the fact that they'll be identifying players already. I know we've spoke about getting a business done early this season, which is something that I like. I like to see clubs getting their business done early. For me, it shows that you've got a set plan and it's getting executed, and you'll know maybe going from target 1 to target 2 or sometimes maybe even target 3 to get a player in. But can Dundee keep that one market? For me, if they manage it, that just rubber stamps Tony Dockett is a good manager, because it's shown that this season isn't a fluke. Do you know what I mean? With these, maybe got these players on loan and they've come in and done well, but if he does it again next season, mate, wow, what a job.
And when we talked about manager of the year, are you slightly surprised that Stephen Robinson's not had a shout at that as well?
I just think St Mirren go under the radar. I think even the way Stephen Robinson as a manager goes under the radar with a lot of people as well. He done it at us. I mean, there was times when I'm thinking, why is nobody coming in for this guy? Why is a Hearts or a Hibs not coming in and taking him? It just seems to not get looked at. And I was grateful for it at the time. Unfortunately, it went a wee bit stale under him, but he was quick to admit that and quick to get out at Motherwell. But I just think that, I say it every week to him, he knows what he wants his team to do. He knows the kind of players that he needs to sign to get it done. And I am astounded at the transformation in Mikael Mandron. We talk about Theo Bair, but Mikael Mandron has had a fantastic season for St Mirren. I think he's on 11 or 12 goals, something similar to what Theo's on. And I'm telling you, when I watched him last season, I didn't think there was a football player in there. And I know St Johnstone fans will be saying the same about Theo, but it was just his movement. I felt like he was playing football on stilts at times. Honestly, that's how slow I thought he was. But no, I think he's been more of a focal point. I know I've kind of drifted to talk about Mandron here, but he's been more of a focal point, and that suited him. And it's another sign of Stephen Robinson identifying a player and making it work for his style of play.
He was really good against Rangers last week, and then they took him off. So a bit of a surprise. But I mean,
I actually thought they fell out the game when they took him off.
Yeah, they did. I mean, St Mirren were really good last week. They deserved at least a draw. You know, it's just unfortunate. 2 mistakes. Obviously, that came in for the first goal. James Bolton runs in for the second goal. Yeah. But again, St Mirren have had a very good season. Again, European football at the Smazza Stadium. Just what a job Robinson's done there. He really has been outstanding.
Yeah, no, he has been outstanding, and if they win tomorrow, I think that all but seals fifth place for them, because Dundee would then need to go and get a result against either Hearts or Rangers, and I just don't see it. So, I just think that to get European football, I mean, St Mirren very rarely have finished above Motherwell in my time supporting Motherwell, and that'll be back-to-back seasons that they've done it now. Albeit they've stole loads of players in the process, and they've still not got over the fact that Marco Harris not at Motherwell. But yeah, we'll blame Graham Alexander for that. But one player that I want to talk about is St Mirren, Alec Gogic. What about that clearance off the line last week?
He has been outstanding for St Mirren. I mean, to get all the way back, he actually ran past a couple of his own players to get back. It was unbelievable. He was the best player on the park last week.
Yeah.
He didn't deserve to be losing the side. I thought he was brilliant last week.
No, he didn't. And I actually don't think at any point before they scored the second that I thought that Rangers were really all right. They had a lot of the ball, but I didn't. It was just screaming to me that they were going to get a goal. Do you know what I mean? And then to lose the 2 goals the way they have, they'll be bitterly disappointed, because there's an opportunity for them to take points there, and that's what I call bonus points. The points that you don't expect to get against Hill Firm when they're fighting for European football. That would have been huge if they could have got a result last week. Not just for how they were in the table, but for their confidence as well, Graham. But I think they've had a really solid season, and will it continue? I don't know. I'm hoping that we'll maybe be in that spot next year.
So you're going for a draw for Dundee St Mirren?
I'm going to go Dundee 1, St Mirren 1, and a late equaliser for St Mirren at that.
I'm going to go 2-1 Dundee. I think they might just sneak it.
Home
Let's
advantage.
go to the bottom 6, and we'll start with Stephen's beloved Motherwell taking on a Livingston side who are on a roll. Well, they're not really. They won last week, though.
They won again.
Livingston currently 9 points behind Ross County. I think we all know they're going down, but a big win for them last week. Travelled to Motherwell, a Motherwell side that lost 1-0 to Aberdeen last week, but of course we know that the game changed with the red card.
Yeah.
Thoughts on this one, Stephen?
It's a game that we should win, and that scares me, because Livingston won last week, and there's something about a team towards the end of the season fighting for their life. These miraculous results can happen, and I do think it would be a miraculous result if Libby beat us tomorrow, because I don't think we were that poor against Aberdeen. I've seen people berating their performance, albeit I only seen the last half hour. I thought when we went down to 10 men and we were still pushing forward at points. All right, we didn't force Kilroos into a great save, but we still had territory. And I just think that home advantage, Libby so fragile defensively. I'm not reading too much into the fact that they beat Ross County because it was on the home pitch, on that plastic surface. I'm hoping that we come away with a convincing win tomorrow, because we still need a win to ensure that we're in the winners of the playoff.
I don't think you're in danger of the playoff, I'm going to be honest. I think you're safe.
No, but until it's mathematically done, I can't rest, mate. Do you know what I mean? Until it is mathematically impossible for us to get there, then I can't rest, because you can sit and say that we've got too good a squad. The longer it goes that we don't get the win that we need, then we go to Ross County next, away. So for me, it has to be tomorrow. It must be tomorrow that we get this result, because we're still not there, mate. And if I just look at the table, we're 7 points clear, right? But if Ross County managed to win at home to Hibs tomorrow, right? I thought they played Hibs last week. I got that mixed up. But if Ross County managed to win against Hibs tomorrow, right, then that just puts us under so much pressure, because we'll then be 4 points behind them. If they beat us, we're then a point behind them, and you're looking right over your shoulder.
Yeah, Paul Donaldson, it's the same for me in Aberdeen. Not going to relax until we're definitely mathematically safe. I mean, does the fact that I think we all know that Livingston are down, but does the fact that they won last week just make it a little bit more dangerous for Motherwell tomorrow?
Yeah, it does. It makes it very dangerous for us. But you've got to think that you've seen the mistakes that Livy have been making defensively. You've got to think that we'll have enough there. I mean, I know Jack Bale's suspended, but I would maybe give Moses a start tomorrow. Moses Abai, he's not made a start yet for the club. He's come off the bench, but I think he's a similar type of player to Jack. So, in terms of he'll put himself about. By the way, I just want to correct myself on Ross County. They are still unbeaten at home under Don Cowie. So, form would suggest that they're going to get a result against Hibs tomorrow. So we need to win this game because I can't be looking at it. I can't have it. It can't happen. No.
Paul says it's a shame, but I think tomorrow could be the day where Livingston's relegation is confirmed.
Could you imagine? I'm just going to say, sorry, I know you were going to get back to Paul's comment, so I apologise to Paul. Could you imagine a Motherwell playoff final? I cannot live with that thought. That cannot happen. LJ cannot be the team to end our 40 years staying in the league. No. I'm going to have nightmares about that, honestly.
See, as a neutral, I now want that to happen.
No, go away. Honestly, he's evil. He is evil, honestly. I come on here so he's no sitting himself and he comes out with statements like that. Absolutely scandalous, man.
I'm only joking.
No, I'm kidding you.
But I mean, yeah, Livingston, they will be, I think, mathematically getting down very shortly, and it's been a dreadful season. You know, nothing has really gone right defensively. You just mentioned it there. They have been so poor. They managed to keep a clean sheet last week, which was a rarity. Bruce Anderson did get a goal, but it has been confirmed that Bruce Anderson will leave, which is no real surprise. I've seen a few folks saying, I've actually seen a few folks saying Hearts, not for me. He's a decent player, but he's not what Hearts need. We need better than that. And no disrespect to Bruce Anderson at all. He's a good player, but he's not what we need. But, I mean, Livingston, again, I think probably will be the day tomorrow where they do go down. But I talk about it all the time on the show, and I didn't think I would. But Theo Bair, I mean, the season that he's had, is he going to be a one-season wonder this season, or do you think he can do the same thing again next season?
I think he will, because I know that the work that we do behind the scenes, I know that I just think he's at the start of the season he looked slow, right? See now, he's a handful. He's a handful. He runs in behind, he bullies players. He's a joy to watch, and I love nothing more than being wrong in a player. Nothing more, because when we signed him, Graham, I'm thinking, if this is a guy that we're pinning our hopes on, then we're screwed. But all right, we signed Mika Bereth, but see, since Mika Bereth's left, by the way, he's tearing it up for Sturm in Austria. Congrats to him. See, since he's left, Theo Bair has just grabbed that baton and ran with it. Honestly, he's just completely took the mantle and decided that this is my spot, and it's so good to see. I think if he manages, I know we're looking to get George Gent and Jack Vale on loan for another season. I'm hoping that Jack Vale stays, because I think Jack Vale's a really good foil for Theo Bair. The Jack Vale, he's scored loads of goals, right? But I'm telling you, he's been a good signing, because his energy is just top notch. And he's someone that I think we're going to miss tomorrow. Hopefully not too much. But Theo Bair, what a signing. Congrats to him for getting in the PFA Team of the Season as well.
We've all done this as football fans. I've done it numerous times as a Hearts fan. When we write players off that end up being quite good. And I genuinely didn't think, and I think you were probably the same, I genuinely didn't think when Theo Bair signed for Motherwell that he would do as well as he has done. It's been an incredible turnaround from him.
Was it Alan that came on here once, the St Johnstone fan that came on? It might have been another podcast I was on with him, but he said he actually laughed on a stream with me when Motherwell signed Theo Bair, because he said that he's the worst player he's ever seen in a St Johnstone shirt, and it started really well for them as well. He gets a goal in the first game of the season against Dundee, and I'm thinking, wow, he's already equalled last season's tally. But and then he tapered off a bit. But just to see that renaissance and to see the video that they did behind the scenes where he's analysing strikers that are similar to him, Graham, I think that's so important. I think that is so important that to watch players in your position that have similar physique, similar play style to you. You can see it in his game. Paul will tell you, like, the game up at Pittodrie, not the one last week, but the 3-each one. I thought he ran Aberdeen's defence ragged. And there was a goal he scored. I just loved his movement. He kind of made a motion to move to the front post and then peeled off to the middle and got himself a tap in. Just seeing his confidence and the way that he's flourished, it's been a joy to watch, and long may it continue. Is it a Hearts player that you can remember that sticks out, that you wrote out when you signed him and kicked on?
There's probably been a few, but I can't think off the top of my head, but there probably has been quite a few over the past few years that I wasn't a fan of when they proved me wrong, which I'm pleased about. My brother wasn't a fan of Wanjo, the Spanish guy that came in, but I loved that guy. I thought he was class. But I mean, up against guys like Michael Nottingham and Devlin tomorrow, if Theo Berg gets a service, if Theo Berg gets a service, he could have a field day tomorrow. Like, genuinely.
Michael Nottingham's got the potential to be Motherwell's best player tomorrow. Honestly, I'm sorry. I hate saying that about players because I don't like being too critical. But there's been countless times I've watched Michael Nottingham this season, and it's been enough for me to decide that he's not very good. So God knows how Livy fans feel about watching him every single week. I just think that you're right. That I think that the defence is quite slow as well. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have to sit deep against us and try something on the counter, because if at any point they're caught with a line high, spin it in behind them every time. Spin it in behind them every time and get them turning, because they will not like it. That would be my instruction.
I know this is a painful subject for you, but for any Hearts fans watching this, I know there's a few. What can we expect from Blair Spittle when it comes to the famous Gorgie boys next summer?
Well, going on his last couple of performances, absolutely nothing, because he's chucked it ever since it's been announced that he's signed a pre-contract to Hearts. But no, listen, if I'm being serious, there's only two players that can win Motherwell's Player of the Year. Well, three: Lennon Miller, Theo Bear, and the other one's Blair Spittle. For a vast majority of this season, he carried us. Graham. And he's just got real enthusiasm, technical ability, and spades, goals, assists. And remember, they started as a winger at Dundee United. I think that move centrally has been so beneficial for him. Honestly, he's been a handful. And I'm really surprised, and I want your opinion on this. How do you fit both him and Danda in the same squad? Because to me, they're both very similar. And is it a formation change? Is it one plays, one doesn't? Because if I'm Blair Spittle, I'm not going to want to go there and sit on the bench. Despite how much money I'm on.
I think it'll be a formation change. Danda can play wide, which I think he might do, and maybe put Spittle on the 10.
Right.
But we've got other options there. Barry Mackay can play there. Liam Boyce is coming back. But I generally, of the signings we've made so far, I said at the time, Spittle's the one that excites me more. I think Danda's a cracking player. I'm a big fan of James Penrose as well. But for me, Spittle's just got something about him that I really like.
No, he's brilliant. He's great to watch, but you need someone in there who's going to be that foil for him. We've got a guy in Davor Dravkovsky who recently followed me on Twitter, just for the follow, Davor. But sorry, who he just does the dirty work. He does the dirty work. He just keeps the ball moving, and it all out players like Blair and Lennon to go and express himself. Who's that player in the Hearts midfield? Who's that player that's going to do that?
I mean, most of our midfielders are quite similar. We will get rid of a few. I think Benny will leave. Harry will leave.
But that's just from his point of view.
I know Benny. I like Benny as well, but he's just. I think he's realised now he's probably going to leave. George Grant. Funnily enough, George Grant's been better now since the news came out about Danda and Spittle signing, which is fine. If he's going to start doing that, then fine. But it's almost like he's had a kick up the backside to say, actually,
Yeah.
I've got players coming into my place here. I
Yeah.
need to play better.
Yeah.
But he might leave as well. But I mean, Paul says, are all these players' hearts have brought more to have a bit of depth in the squad
Yeah.
for playing in Europe? Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. We need a big squad. I said that earlier on. We're going to play a lot of games next year with a big squad. We will send another, I reckon, 5 or 6 players as well. But Blair Spittle, I genuinely think, when that news came out, I was like, wow, that is unbelievable.
I was devastated.
I know you will.
Devastated. But listen, I don't blame Blair for going to Hearts. He's got a chance to earn more money, play in Europe, and look after his family and himself, which is number one. I'm just gutted that he's had to do it by going to another club in Scotland, particularly a club like Hearts. But no. Anyway, but listen, you've got a player in your hands and take care of him, because honestly, I think that, and people, this will get clipped and people say I'm talking nonsense, right? But there's one point that if the Scotland squad got injured, say for McTominay was injured, right? Blair Spittle could go in and do a job for you. I'm telling you, he could. Would he be first pick? No, but he's had that good a season that maybe I see. I've done that thing when I've made an opinion and I'm starting to think more about it, and I'm changing my mind. And the minute I think about the players that we've got in midfield, but nah, it's been a really good season for them, and no, you've got a player, Graham. Really have.
I'm getting excited now. But just in terms of tomorrow, obviously Livingston are going to go down. We kind of mentioned it earlier on that they're going to struggle in the Championship. David Martindale, by all accounts, probably won't leave because he's got a big say at Livingston. He's got shares in the club. He manages pretty much everything. I mean, it's just been one of these seasons this season, and it happens every season. I think every time David Martindale's asked the question about what's your aims for this season, it's basically stay up. Well, this time, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. But did you see that? How well, I say good, but how much has David Martindale gave us to talk about his interviews?
Oh, honestly, it has
been. Did you see his one last week? How many times did he say wee Brucey when he was talking about Bruce Anderson leaving?
I know.
Wee Brucey, like every 2 seconds. But no, they're going to be going down to the Championship. This is the thing. You talk about Dundee United going down and them coming straight back up. Maybe sides like Dundee going down, you expect them to come back up. Kelly going down in recent years, Hearts, right? All these clubs have been down with big budgets. David Martindale was not been shy in telling us that Livy don't have the budget for the Premiership. They don't go down with a big budget. That is why I think they'll struggle. And I said it, there was points where David Martindale was being touted for jobs. St Johnstone was a big one, wasn't it, before Levine took the job. I think he should have got out while he could. I think he should have got out because I think he took Livy as far as he could take them. With them, they were in for a shout at the top 6 a couple of years ago. We picked them at the post with Ricky Lamy scoring in the last minute. He keeps them up. I think there comes a point where you need to make your move, and I think he's missed it. And I just wonder whether he'll be kicking himself. What's
your prediction for Motherwell against Livingston?
Motherwell 3, Livingston 0.
Yeah, that's what I was going with as well. Let's go to Paul's side. Aberdeen are at home to St Johnstone. I think St Johnstone are going to be in serious trouble. I keep changing my opinion who's going to get that playoff place between Ross County and St Johnstone. And then I look at St Johnstone the last couple of games and I think, they're really going to struggle. And to be fair, Alistair said the same thing last week. There's a lot of discontent. They are going to get new owners coming in. But, I mean, Aberdeen, under Peter Leaving so far, have actually done well under Leaving. They were unlucky not to win the semi-final against Celtic. They won the game last week. I know that Paul doesn't think so yet, but I think Aberdeen are safe. They will have a new manager coming in, Jimmy Thielen coming in. But I don't see Aberdeen not winning this tomorrow because St Johnstone at the moment look a very, very poor side.
Here's my pun for the week. If Peter gets the better of Craig, then Levine could be leaving. There you go. That was good. That was a belt. That was actually quite good, wasn't it?
I doff my cap to you, mate.
It could be. I think Peter Leaving done a great job because Aberdeen were a sinking ship. They were losing games week after week after week. Warnock was a train wreck, and he's come in and he's put the wheels back on the train. He's got it back on track. And they'll be fine now. They'll be fine. And they've got I forgot that Elfsborg manager's name. Remind me.
Jimmy Thielen.
Jimmy Thielen. They've got Jimmy Thielen coming in next season. And they'll now have a platform where they can go and they can start afresh, and they won't. And I'm sure Paul will be grateful for this. I think they're safe now, although Paul won't want to admit it, just the way I won't admit it about Motherwell. They're safe now, and they've not got European football to worry about next season. So that's where I want to change the subject and kind of ask you that on Hearts. I think he's may struggle in the league next year, because you've seen how Aberdeen, to me, had a big squad this season, right? They had the big squad, but you've seen how they struggled to balance the European performances with the league performances. How do Hearts go about getting that right?
I mean, hopefully we've learned our lessons from the last time we were in Europe. We're going to have, one playoff in the Europa League. If we lose that, we know we're in the Conference League, which is going to be difficult. But playing Thursday, Sunday, it's going to be very tough. That's where I say we need a bigger squad. But I think Nazel have learned his lessons this time. We weren't ready last time, and I think we will be this time. I'm bringing in guys like Spittle, Danda, and Pernis are going to help that. I'm hoping, like he keeps them, we're going to keep Shankland. But I still think there'll be another 5 or 6 players to come in. But it's about balancing that. I mean, playing Thursday, Sunday is not easy. You need a big squad. And we found out to our cost. Aberdeen were unlucky in Europe. I genuinely thought they were actually very good in pretty much every game. They should have had more points than they got. We need to be competitive when we get there. But it's going to be difficult. And I kind of said as well that this is what I said earlier. If we finish third next season, I think that's a big achievement. The amount of games they're going to have to play is mental.
Yeah.
And I think Aberdeen and Hibs, they have to take advantage of that. Hopefully they don't, but they've got to take advantage of that.
They do. But as I say it, there's always one or two that misses out for that top 6. You would always say Aberdeen, Hearts, Hibs, or Hearts, Aberdeen, Hibs. I'm sorry, Hibs fans. Graham will like this, but I don't quite put you in the equation of being the third best team in Scotland, because I've yet to see it. He's yet to prove it to me. So I just think that there'll always be one or two that miss out, and I think the start to your season is so important, Graham.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think the start to the season is so important, because you've seen it with us. All right, we went 15 games unbeaten without a win. Sorry, at one point I wish we went 15 games unbeaten. But what we did do is we got 10 points right at the start of the season, and maybe even 13 for the first 5 or 6 games. And all right, over that spell, we were picking up the wee point here or there, and that just kept us from being cut adrift. That start to the season. So that'll tell you all you need to know next season about Aberdeen, Hearts, and Hibs, how they start. The start is vital.
Our season basically changed in December because we just lost to Aberdeen at Pittodrie. And the week after that, our next 5 fixtures after that were like Celtic away, St Mirren and Hibs. We went on a 12-game unbeaten run.
Yeah.
And that completely flipped the season, where before that I thought we're going to struggle here. But that run completely flipped the season.
To contradict my point, was there no point at the start of the season where I think you'd looked at the first 9 games or something and said that you suddenly picked up that many points for the 27? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
You were a bit disappointed in that, because I think you had a lot of sides that were beatable at home, and then a tough run of away fixtures. But I think it's a great point you make. I made a point about the start of the season, but to sort of contradict my point, Graham, I think you just need to go on a run at some point. A run needs to happen somewhere. But Hearts have managed it this season. Aberdeen haven't managed it at any point, which is why you see them having the season they're having. So it's about finding a formula and being able to put a run of results together. So important.
Paul makes a couple of good points here. Aberdeen fans will massively appreciate Peter leaving if he saves the club from relegation playoff. Yeah. And he also said, we had a big squad, but Robson kept using the same 13, 14 players every Thursday, Sunday. And that's
poor, isn't it?
You can't do
that. That's naivety. And I'm sure Stephen A. Smith will be well versed and well aware and know that he has to rotate players. And this is what I'm saying. You bought in Danda and Spittle, right? You can either play the two of them, but you could also play Dan in the league, split on Europe, and then play Dan in the league and rotate that. And you're getting similar quality of player coming in. Kingsley can drop out, Penrith can come in. Do you know what I mean? So you've got that. Sorry, I bumped there. You've got that in goals as well with Xander Clark and Craig Gordon. Like, you've got the ability to rotate these positions. And even look at, if you've offered Craig Halkett a new contract.
Yeah, till 2026.
Yeah, so I know he said he's injury problems, but could you imagine him beside Frankie Ken? Like, that to me, and what's Kyle Rose's situation?
I think he's got another 2 years left.
Right.
And Stephen Naismith actually did say yesterday, because I was watching his press conference, and Liam Boyce and Craig Halkett are both back fit. But Naismith actually already said they won't play again the rest of this season. We're going to wait till next season,
Right.
which is actually sensible. There's no point risking them with 4 games to go. Third's done. You're as well leaving them until next season. So I completely understand that point.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, just well leaving them to next season. So no, but he knows what he's doing. But to get back to Paul's point, because I know we were meant to be talking about Aberdeen. Sorry, Paul, that's my fault. I've been waffling and bringing it back into that wee Diddy Club for Edinburgh Hearts. No, it's scandalous for Barry Robson to.
Is that just because of my Airdrie Motherwell comment?
I had to get you back. He says here he's quite happy with Aberdeen's form. Hadn't lost in the last 5 games. If we played like this early in the season, we'd be at least in the top 6 and possibly going for a place in Europe. And I think that's right. But I think that then again, this is what I say. I know he's highlighted Dobson's made a mistake. I'd still have given him a chance because he's young, right? And maybe, I hope Stevie Hamill's listening because he caned me when he got the sack via private message. But anyway, so I hope he's listening. Maybe we could have done the same with Stevie Hamill. But no, to me, after that Red Rovers game, I thought we were inevitably down. But you've seen it with Stephen Naismith, that he's managed to turn that around. And I know that the league form was poor, right? But he did well in Europe. I think Barry Robson earned at least another month or 2. And I know we've said that. And then he's got an appointment wrong in Neil Warnock, and it's come back to bite his ball. I'm sorry.
I mean, in terms of St Johnstone, I know Alistair spoke about this last week. They were really poor against Hibs. They could have lost that game by 6 or 7 quite comfortably. I mean, St Johnstone at the moment just look. I mean, Ross Kent, I think, have got something about them. Just don't see with St Johnstone, though. I mean, I know that Paul said there in the comments that St Johnstone have to go for it tomorrow. Craig Levine's never been that type of manager. He won't do that, I don't think.
No, particularly against Aberdeen. What? You're not going to go for it, because if you go for it, Miovski's just going to run in behind and kill you. And to me, St Johnstone, they don't have. You don't look at St Johnstone. You look at Aberdeen, you go, they've got Miovski. You look at Motherwell, we've got Theo Bear, Lennon Miller. You don't look at St Johnstone and go, wow, he's a good player. There's no player that stands out. Graham Carey for me is about as close as you get to a half-decent player at St Johnstone. And that's worrying. That is really, really worrying. Because I know you mentioned the likes of Kempioka, who's been okay in spits and spats, but I just don't think there's enough about that squad, and I think they're going to go down.
I mean, St Johnstone's best player is the goalkeeper. I think Mitov's been outstanding. Without him, they'd be losing 5, 6, 7 goals every game. He's been outstanding. No,
you're right. They would. They would. And it's here. I really need to get into grips with players' contract situations at other clubs, because is he out of contract?
I don't think he's out of contract yet.
Because I'm telling you, if St Johnstone go down and he was out of contract, I'd be like, see you later, Liam Kelly. Come here. Do you know what I mean? And a couple of Hearts maybe at that stage, because Craig's getting older, right? Craig's not getting any younger. Do you look at maybe bringing a Mitov in? Because for me, he's a better goalkeeper than Xander Clark. Not that Xander Clark has had a bad season. I'm not saying that. I just think Mitov has been that impressive. Or even in Aberdeen, like look at Kel Roos. I think he's been 48 points this season. The teams look at Mitov and go, I'll take him. By the way, can I just make a point? What about Kel Roos getting cramp in that penalty shootout?
I said this at the time as well. He did his own teammate Ryan Duncan no favours with that, because it meant that Ryan Duncan was then having to hold the ball for about 2-3 minutes. And I said at the time, as soon as I saw it, I said he's going to miss.
He's going to miss.
It didn't do me any favours at all.
But have you ever seen a goalie get cramp?
No.
It's mad. It is mad. And see, if you do have cramp, roll off to the side of the pitch. Go off to the side of the pitch so that Ryan Duncan can still take his penalty. And he's not waiting 3 minutes. And I know Paul must be so gutted about that semi-final because Aberdeen were in that game. And see when you get games like that, because I know Aberdeen are a big club and they reach semi-finals very often, but I can only relate it to Motherwell. We've never turned up in cup finals. The closest that we came to turning up was the League Cup final where Craig Gordon made a great save before Scott Sinclair dived and won a penalty and they beat us 2-0. But you just wonder when these opportunities are going to come around again. And Aberdeen, they've won a League Cup in my lifetime, but I think it's shameful that they've not managed to win a Scottish.
What is your prediction for that game tomorrow, Aberdeen St Johnstone?
Aberdeen win very, very comfortably. Aberdeen 4, St Johnstone 0, Levine on a shaky peg.
I'm going to go 2-0 Aberdeen. I do think they'll win. I just don't see St Johnstone winning. Let's go to the other team in the relegation playoff. Ross County against Hibernian. Ross County last week were beaten, obviously, by Livingston.
Yeah.
But the home record has been decent. Hibs were decent last week, but again, against a poor side. How do you see this game going?
Tough one to call, actually, because you never know what you're getting with Hibs. You don't know what you're getting with Hibs. And then County, they just get beat off Livy, but then you look at the home record and you go, nothing wrong with that. They've just beat Rangers at home. So it's a really tough one to call because, again, you've got County in the position where they're fighting for their life. I just see St Johnstone getting worse and worse in County, needing that result to put them above Saints. So I actually think that there'll be goals in it, and I'm going to go for the home side to win it 3-2.
Paul says, I wish I was confident, but I think 2-1 Aberdeen, but it was a scrappy game. As long as you win, mate, I don't think you'll bother.
Nah, I just think that, sorry to interrupt them, but I think that with the cup performance, the performance against us, keeping a clean sheet against us, which I think was important, because it's something that Aberdeen haven't done a lot this season, is keep clean sheets. I don't see St Johnstone with any creative influences, Paul. I see he's winning that game very comfortably, mate.
I mean, Don Kelly, I think, has done well at Ross County. I know they're in a difficult position, but I think he has done well since he's come in. And the home record has been really good. But you were right. Hibs have been very patchy. They were decent last week, but St Johnstone were awful. And I've said this as well to Mikey before. For me, Hibs' best player just now has been Malouda, who's only on loan. I don't think they managed to keep him because it's going to cost a lot of money. But again, I just think he looks really good. I thought Martin Boyle looked better last week. But the problem is, and sorry, Hibs fans, you're turning it on now when it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but then do they look at that and they go, I mean, they were what, 30 seconds away from being in the top 6? I mean, Shane Blaney scores a wonder goal that you can't
Motherwell.
That you can't really pick the holes in that, can you? Because it's a wonder goal for Shane Blaney. So, I mean, do they look at it with the investment that they've got for the guys that are in at Bournemouth? If they end the season strongly, no Europe to worry about. Who did they bring in the summer? I think it's still important to end the season well with them because you can maybe look to kind of that can give you hope for next season, carry it on, and there may be players that they're making their mind up about as well. So they may be fighting for the place there next season. There's still things to play for. I think getting 7th, particularly for a club like us, would be big, but I just don't know now. I know we've still got Hibs to play, but we're getting beat against Aberdeen. I kind of make Hibs favourites for that. I know they're sitting there now. We're 5 points off them, Aberdeen 4. So I just think finishing 7th is still important, mate.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people say that Mick Montgomery's under pressure, but I've said it before, as again an unbiased opinion. He needs more time. He needs at least a couple of transfer windows. He's going to have to kind of rejig that squad, rebuild that squad. He'll have the money coming in for Bill's Foley. We don't know how much that's going to be, but I think at this stage to say that Montgomery's under pressure, I don't think that's right personally.
Now's the time, I think, for Hibs to move players out. Like, you look at the squad, get rid of David Marshall, sign Liam Kelly, please take him. You're welcome. Get rid of Paul Hanlon. Get rid of Lewis Stevenson. Now, by the way, the last two that I've mentioned are club legends. Club legends at Hibs have had great careers. I just think there's sell-by dates and certain things, and I think they've reached it now. And you wonder, by the way, here's a shout. If they're not wanting to retire, could you see Paul Hanlon and Lewis Stevenson at Ayr United next season playing for Scott Brown?
Possibly, you never know.
I think that makes perfect sense. But I look at Hibs and I look at where I think they're weak. Defensively, they've got nothing about them. They've got nothing about them defensively for me. So that would be the area, if I'm Nick Montgomery, that I am looking to identify and correct. You need to replace Ryan Porteous. You've not done it yet.
No, that's fair. I mean, they've had a really poor season, Hibs. We all know that. I think looking at Ross County, though, it's such a big game. I mean, if you were to assume that Aberdeen beat St Johnstone, then that'll create a big 3 points if Ross County can get that tomorrow.
Yeah. No, I just see before I talk about County, check that comment for Paul Graham. 35 quid for Hibs v Aberdeen. Two clubs in the bottom six with nothing to play. That's a joke. That is a joke.
Shocking,
you look at it on the other hand, Motherwell doing a thing at the game tomorrow, bring a friend for the fiver, just to get more people into the game for both sets of supporters. Fantastic. We need more than that. 35 quid. Get in the bin. 20's plenty. That should be the way moving forward.
I mean, Hibs don't sell at the stadium anyway, so surely a fiver is more than enough.
There you go. He's got his wee digging. But no, as for County, I just think the home form is what's going to see them finish outside the playoff. You see a sign that County can stay up or avoid that playoff that you don't see with St Johnstone. And I'm glad St Johnstone are so bad, because I know that you're saying Motherwell won't get dragged into it, but if we got to that point where we did end up a point behind County and St Johnstone were doing well, I think County would finish above it. So, I think County will get out it. And as I say, I tipped them to win the game tomorrow. So that tells you all you need to know.
It's funny because I think I said to Ross, a Ross County fan, at the end of last season when they stayed up,
great guy, by the way.
I didn't think they'd be in this position again, but here we are again.
No, but you say you didn't think that, but is that no way you expect County to beat them? Do you not expect County to be in the playoff?
No, I think they've got a better squad than that.
Well, aye, maybe definitely in attacking areas. I think Simon Murray's been a great player for them. But you now look at it, they're losing Jan Danda. He's away, so there's a big hole for them to fill next season. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the window. But I would expect County to be there. So I slightly disagree with you on that point. I think that them and St Johnstone, you'd look at their sides before the start of the season and say, yeah, they would be down there. But I do think that home advantage is going to be vital, and they're going to stay up, mate.
Prediction for tomorrow, Ross County against Hibs?
3-2 County. By the way, I've realised that I've went for loads of goals in every game so far. I need to get a 0-0.
All of them will finish 0-0.
I need to get a 0-0 in somewhere.
That's going to be the last game. I think it might finish 1-1. I'm going for a draw. But the final game of the weekend is at Ibrox on Sunday, and it is Rangers against Kilmarnock at 1 p.m. Rangers going at this game knowing that obviously Celtic beat Hearts tomorrow, hopefully not. Yeah. Then they will be 6 points behind. But again, this is a tough game. We spoke about it earlier. Kilmarnock have had a very good season. This will not be easy.
No, it won't. Kilmarnock, as I said at the start of the show, one of the most organised sides in the division. So I think that they can go to Ibrox with a game plan. and look to execute it. And I don't think this is going to be easy at all. Particularly if Celtic do win and Kilmarnock start the game, first 20 minutes, getting to half time and it's still being 0-0, you can get that crowd edgy. That's going to be huge. But I think we could see, you always get a result in the split when the league's tight like this that you don't expect. Everybody's looking at Kelly v Celtic, right? As the game where the title could flip if Rangers go and get a result in the derby next week. But there's something in the comments, 87-0 Rangers. Definitely. Oh, brilliant. But no, he ends up playing cricket tomorrow and no football. But I think it's going to be tight. But I do think Rangers will just squeeze it 1-0.
I mean, someone that we talk about a lot on this show, Cyril Dessers, he did get a goal last week. I mean, he couldn't really miss. I think you could have finished that, to be fair. But he has got 20 odd goals this season. Now, the issue with Cyril Dessers is he misses a lot of chances. But he's actually done not too bad for him this season, considering the stick that he's got.
Right. So I want to make a point here. He's got 20 goals. See if he took penalties. You're talking about maybe having more goals than Lawrence Shankland.
He would.
This season. So I know he misses loads of chances, and I know in a Rangers shirt you'll get more chances than with Shankland will in a Hearts shirt. But 20 goals is what you look for from a striker. And I think it's unfair to kind of pin the blame, scrutinise Dessers' performances, because he's been an ever-present for Rangers this season when other players have been injured. So if he's not there, who's the player carrying the mantle for them?
Someone I do think has been really good for Rangers is Diamandi. I think anytime I've seen that guy, looks absolute quality.
No, he's been a great signing, and I think he's someone that Rangers have maybe missed in midfield, because I know that Ryan Jack's maybe kind of had his injury problems this season. So he's been vital for them, just to give them that balance that I think is so important in midfield. There was a lot of talk about Nico Raskin when he came in. I don't think he's necessarily covered himself in loads of glory this season. I look at the game that we played them at Ibrox, I thought he was really poor. So Diamandi, he's a signing that Clement's obviously identified, and he's come in and he's done a good job. And do you know what? That, for me, from a Rangers fan, it gives me encouragement for next season, because you're looking at a manager having an eye for the player. I think that's been a really good signing for them.
I mean, Kilmarnock go to Ibrox. You know, they've pretty much got fourth place wrapped up.
Yeah.
Danny Armstrong could cause problems there, because I generally think he has been, again, maybe unfortunate not to win the Player of the Year award. I think he's had a great season for Killie.
One thing that Rangers defence struggle with is people running in behind them, as do most defences. But again, you've seen it with Celtic with cross balls. I think if you turn Rangers and try and spin them and play them behind and get people running down the channels, you can hurt them, because it's exactly what we went in and done. And Theo Bear bullied them. And Kyle Vassell's got that similar kind of a presence up front. You've got Danny Armstrong, who, I've said it, for me, has been the best winger in the league this season. So yeah, we talk about Kilmarnock going there with a game plan and going there and being defensive. But they've got players up there at the end that can hurt Rangers as well.
Yeah, I mean, Kilmarnock don't tend to lose many goals. They are very, very strong defensively.
No, they are. They are very strong defensively. So I think it's going to be the case. It's how they're going to perform defensively. If they do that, they give themselves a chance.
I suppose right now for Rangers fans, it doesn't matter how well they play. It's just about getting the 3 points. I think they probably will get it on Sunday, if we're going to be honest. I think it'll be a difficult game. But I just fancy Rangers to sneak this, but very, very close by 2-1 potentially.
Yeah, I did say that Rangers would just edge it 1-0, because I think it'll be a late goal as well. There you go. But they've got players that can come up with that moment of quality, and I think that's what they're going to need to break Kilmarnock down.
Well, as always, it's been a very, very busy show. Thank you, as always, to Stephen for joining me. Thank you for all the comments and people that also follow us. It's much appreciated.
Yep,
we are
thanks.
back on Sunday between 3 and 5 to discuss the games at the weekend. I hope you have a cracking weekend, whatever you're doing, whatever game you're going to. As I say, I'll be going to watch Pennycook tomorrow against Soke for our last home game of the season. But thank you, as always. We will catch you later. And again, just a special shout out to the show on Monday, 7 o'clock. We are on discussing the work that has been done by the Scottish Football Supporters Association, 7 o'clock, so you can watch us live then. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you later, folks. See you,
Cheers, guys.
people.